technically having some difficulties, so we'll get started. Today's code of the item, or this week's code of the item, is maintain cleanliness and condition of your vehicles and equipment. Going to be a little more challenging with the salt and the other stuff this winter, but just keep it up. What do you got next, Matt? Matt's queuing us up here. We've had 115 days without a recordable injury, which is a good record. So keep it up. Doing well there. Oh, there we go. Are we going to share with Susan now, Matt? Okay. So Susan's going to do part 4 today of our anti-harassment training. And at a certain point, I think Matt has already engaged a few other people to help out. So he'll be unmuting them. I'll let you get started, Susan, on part 404.
Okay, thank you very much. So today we're going to go over some case studies. So this is the opportunity for someone other than me to do some talking. So the first one, let's go over if this happens at a work site. You've got a male employee and he says, I like to stand right here at 8 a.m. This really hot girl walks into the building next door around then and I like to have a good look. Male employee number 2 says, wow, it's almost 8. She should be coming any minute. Male employee number 1 said, there she is. And he looks right at her and he says, hey babe, looking good today. So what do we think? Is this inappropriate behavior? Could it potentially rise to that level of harassment? And what should you be doing about it if you overhear a conversation like this and you see this happening? Do we have someone on the other end who's going to jump in and talk about it? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody. Whoops.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you, but hold on a minute.
Okay.
I got to go back. Okay, there we go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, if I witnessed this, I would say, hey guys, you really need to be working right now and not doing whatever it is you're doing. But furthermore, you've got a code of conduct, and I think you've broken it in 3 ways. We need to strive to maintain a positive and professional image of ECI to our employees and the public. We need to maintain respectful behavior, and we need to strive for restraint, discretion, and integrity. And you're not doing any of that, and it's inappropriate, and you need to get back to work and not do this again.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. And I love the diffusion piece where you do step in and you say, you know what, cut this out, instead of just saying, wow, I don't think that was the right thing to do. Let's just wait and see if it happens again, because he's talking about it happening. She comes in every day at about 8, right? So my guess is it's happening again. What would you think if that last piece didn't happen? If they were talking about this woman and they're watching her walk into work, but they don't actually say anything to her? What do you think? Do you think that's still potential harassment?
I think it may depend on how it's perceived, and if she felt threatened or uncomfortable by it, I think it's inappropriate. But maybe it may or may not rise to the point of harassment if the third part doesn't occur.
Yeah, and that's true. And the other piece to remember is that there are other employees there who could be overhearing this, who could be offended by it, and that's when you start getting into that hostile work environment. Right? If you've got other employees that hear that this is going on and they're saying, this is making it really uncomfortable for me to come to work because I have to listen to this every single morning. So yeah, it could definitely rise to the level of harassment. Again, if this is the first day it's happened and it only happens once and it's addressed, probably not. But it looks to me like it's a little bit more habitual than that. So, okay, thank you. So the next one, this is an example of a conversation. And again, I've been in HR for 35 years. I don't pull these things out of thin air. You'd be amazed at what goes on out there in the workplace. So you've got a supervisor with a raised voice, and he, could be a she, is saying, "I can't believe you didn't finish what I asked you to do this morning yet." And the employee says, "Sorry, I didn't think it was important, and I got busy with other things." And the supervisor starts yelling even louder and says, "It's no excuse. I asked you to do it, so you should have done it. Don't you have any idea how to follow instructions? You're useless." So what do we think here? Do we think that this is inappropriate behavior, or do we think that it actually rises to that level of potential harassment?
It comes off, I feel, inappropriate behavior. It comes that way as, being a directive, as I didn't do exactly what was asked, but it didn't say that I had to do this first, second, or last. If it got off worse and was more verbal, it could be a potential harassment.
Yeah, and if we think back to those protected classes, we don't really know if there's a protected class involved here. So if it's just one supervisor who's yelling at an employee, it's probably inappropriate, because I don't think that's a really appropriate work environment anyway, to have somebody raising their voice, even though sometimes, people lose their temper. But what we don't know in this situation is, what if that supervisor, for example, is a female, and the only employees that she ever raises her voice to are the males, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
you've got someone who only raises their voice to their Black workers or their Hispanic workers. Then you start getting into, this could be a problem. I think regardless, under your policies, this is something that should definitely be addressed, because it really isn't the best way to be treating your employees. And it could potentially rise to that level of harassment depending on the circumstances. So, but again, if there are no protected classes involved there, it wouldn't be illegal, but it would absolutely be inappropriate. So, okay, good, thanks. Any other comments on any of these?
Yeah, Susan, I think on this one here, it's sometimes people single out certain people and treat them a certain way repetitively, like every day. They might pick on one person. So I didn't know if you had any, I know that's definitely inappropriate, but if they're not a protected class, it's probably not illegal, but does that cross a line on harassment when someone is singling someone out every single day and treating them maybe differently and inappropriately?
Yeah, but it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't cross that illegal threshold. So nobody could go to the Attorney General's office and file a complaint and say, "I've been harassed at work." There's no no legal action there, but it's definitely something that should be addressed, and I'm sure would be addressed, because it does cross that lower threshold that ECI has set for for its behavioral expectations.
Thank you.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so you're at work, you've got a female coworker who just mentions this to you in passing. She says, "I'm getting really tired of the men around here assuming I can't do anything. Anytime I try to lift something or offer to do some of the heavier work, I'm told that's a man's job, not mine. What does everyone think I was hired to do anyway? Nothing but paperwork?" So how would you respond if you had a coworker coming to you like this? What would you do?
In this case, I probably would initially reinforce to the female here that she's definitely not above or below anybody. We don't have. She's not too good to do any work, and she's also not below doing any work. And I think we're all in that same boat all the time. I would reinforce maybe with her to not assume anything. Don't assume that somebody is trying to lend a hand only because she's a woman. We don't evaluate or value anybody more or less based on how much they could lift or how well they could run a machine or things like that. Right person, right skills, right time. I would reinforce those types of things. And then I guess I would probably, maybe encourage her to stand up to herself with those individuals that she feels are treating her, maybe a little beyond, just a chivalry type manner. And then I think I would maybe also, if it were a repeat thing, maybe make sure to get with those individuals who are offending her and make sure they're aware that their actions, although maybe not breaking any codes of conduct, but maybe taken in a way that is more towards a harassment level of perception.
Yeah, I think you hit on all the points that I would have made. And, I love the way that you start out with saying that it's important to tell this female coworker, you can't assume that they're treating you like this just because you're a woman. They could be doing this for everybody. Just everybody pitches in, everybody lends a hand. And it could be her misinterpretation of what's really going on. And I do think it's important that she be encouraged to talk to her coworkers when these things come up, because could it be harassment? Could it not be harassment? We don't really know, because it's a very fuzzy line. But again, the important thing here is that it gets addressed and that it gets talked about, and everybody understands where the employee's coming from, where the misunderstandings may be happening, so that everybody's clear as to what they're expecting out of everybody else. So yeah, you nailed all my points. Good. Do we have any other questions or any other comments on this one?
I got one.
Okay.
So I think also that the first thing to do is to express to that person that you're ready to listen and get yourself in listening mode before you defend a position of anybody. And
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important for everybody.
Definitely, because listening mode is so important, because you want to hear what's going on, and you want to get rid of any kind of unconscious bias that you might have too. Because maybe this is a female who in your mind is a complainer, right? She just complains all the time. So you hear it and you start thinking, oh, here we go again, right? It's important to clear that filter and listen to what she's really saying. Because that one time that you ignore it and write it off is the one time that somebody might really have a valid complaint. So that's a really good point too. Okay, any other comments, thoughts? Okay, since I can't see responses, I'm assuming that's it. So again, this is what I've been talking about for the last 4 weeks. Your behavior should reflect the professionalism and the company's values and policies. So that pretty much wraps it up, folks. Do we have any questions about anything that we've talked about? Any comments?
I think if anyone does have questions or is unable to communicate now, please send Matt or myself an email so that we can address that, and we can engage Susan. Susan is a little bit of a new person to ECI, but she's been working with us on this project and several others. We've also engaged Susan's help a little bit. We have access to you, Susan, every month if we need. We've got a little bit of access to all the experience that you have, which is good. So if people do have questions regarding any of this stuff, let us know. Let Matt or myself, Ken, Alberta, anybody that you feel comfortable with, actually, just let them know, because we can reach out to Susan and address and engage with any of the employees. We have arranged to have that access, so we appreciate that. So let's use it when we need it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I know that when we're all on these calls together, sometimes it's hard and intimidating, especially at 6:45 in the morning, to unmute yourself and ask these questions. So feel free to go to anybody at ECI. I'm accessible, as Ben said, and I'd be happy to help out.
yes, and also I wanted to thank Ben McKinney and Alberta Smith and Joey Appleton. I don't know if you had a chance to meet them, Susan, before the meeting. I think we kind of put this together for you. And hopefully you'll be able to meet Ben and Alberta and Joey, who helped out. And I think they did a great job this morning engaging with you. So
Yes.
thank you to those three and everyone else who's on the training this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's always really hard when you're just talking in front of a computer. You just don't know how people are responding on the other end. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Especially if you're Matt this morning, who
Right,
every
right.
once in a while
We can see, but not hear.
unplugs his mic so that Ken and I and Susan have to do all the work, right?
We got it covered.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Susan.
Same to
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks for getting up early with us these mornings.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, bye.
Bye, Susan. Okay, take it away, Ken.
Okay, sounds good here. I'll flip it over to here. There we go. You see my screen now? You guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you and your screen is up.
Okay, sounds good. So for announcements, we obviously have Thanksgiving. That's tomorrow, and we have that tomorrow off along with Friday. So happy Thanksgiving for everybody. We got a little bit of an extended break, and we wish everybody a good Thanksgiving, even though it might be different than in the past. So Wednesday, as today, was the meeting, the safety meeting. So hopefully everyone saw this in time to see the meeting. If you didn't, Matt records the meetings, the entire meetings, plus also the special training is recorded. And also for announcements, continuing on the announcements list is the 2021 Health and Dental Insurance Program. And there's no changes, no rate increases, no changes in coverage, no deductible changes, at least to the employee on all these items. And we're very excited about that and proud to make that happen this year. So if there's anyone who is interested in joining the program who's not already on it, you can do open enrollment. It says it ends on November 30th, so that's next week. Yeah, that's Monday. So we need to get on it and get you in the program so you can start having the deductions from your paycheck and be ready on January 1st. So life and disability insurance is also an option available. There's a link here to the summary, and check with Sarah if you have any questions. Also look, actually I forgot to take this off, but there was a 401k mailing last week, and if you have questions, check with Ursula. And cold weather is around the corner, maybe not quite around the corner anymore. We have snow out there this morning. It's not seriously cold yet, but still we should be treating fuel and winterizing pumps. And the COVID here policies, of course, we're looking at a big uptick in COVID activity throughout the country, but even here in Vermont, and we need to stay on it here and be with our mask program and our staying 6 feet away and all that type of procedures, but also trying to work by a phone call versus in person whenever possible. If you're going to come to the office, come to the shop or the tool crib, a call in advance is the best way to deal with this, and we can do pretty much anything we can do over the phone or be prepared to transition into something in a planned way. So we're profiling this week the COVID sign project through at various locations in Vermont, and ECI was recently and very quickly had been contracted by VTrans to assist in the rapid installation of border crossing and highway signage related to the governor's most recent COVID-19 quarantine requirements for those entering Vermont from out of state. ECI, along with district crews, FR Lafayette, Jay Hutchins, helped support this mission critical project over a 5-day period. There were approximately 120 individual signs with varying styles of post and anchor combinations that were installed throughout the state and at all state and Quebec border crossings. ECI took responsibility to install the signs in District 9 up in the Northeast regional border crossings and District 5 along I-89 between Montpelier and Colchester. The project was a good example of the contracting community joining forces and sharing equipment with VTrans district maintenance teams to get a job done quickly and safely. And we hope these signs help to further communicate the right message to those traveling into the state and help us stay safe during this pandemic. So here we are. I assume it wasn't too windy a day when they were doing this. And this is the installed sign. Not quite sure where this location is, but when you see these signs up, many of them will have been installed by ECI. This is one of the border crossings, I believe, maybe Newport from 91 possibly. You can see the border station in the background, and there we are under the bridge installing the signs. And then there was an email chain that came later on after we finished up this work from Joe Flynn. He's the Secretary of Transportation. He's responding to some other emails, and he says, Shane and team and our contractor partners, I echo the chief engineer in thanking all for this tremendous statewide effort. It is critically important right now that Vermont and her visitors are aware of the COVID rules and follow them. The work you did adds to that message in reinforcing that awareness. And I hope everyone can have a safe and happy Thanksgiving from Joe. And then from the photo archives, look at these characters here. Anyone guess who these are? That was a long time ago. I can tell by the bathtub there. And these guys, I guess, are wishing a happy Thanksgiving to everybody. So that's it. I'm going to turn it back over to Matt. And again, happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Do the right thing out there for protection against COVID. And good luck hunting and everything like that. We got today to get through, and then we got 4 days off. So we'll see you Monday after that. Okay, Matt.
Okay. All right, Ken, thanks a lot. And I think Matt is
Okay.
still muted.
What do you think of those two guys there, Ben?
I think they look like they're getting along pretty good. That's good.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
one-
Well, one's gonna dump some water over the other guy's head.
Yeah, and he's secured the deep end, which is always the better place in the tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got the same picture of two of my grandkids today, so that's cool.
Oh, good. All right. Take
All
care.
right, guys. Everyone have a good, safe day.
Okay.